All right, so we are in part 2, lesson 99, and we're still talking about identifying adverbs. Now this is something so fun, you guys. Let's talk about our senses verbs. Appear, feel, look, smell, sound, taste, and touch. Now, our senses verbs, they are also our linking verbs. Right here. But they can also be action verbs. So how do we know if they're linking verbs? Well, Daniel appears mad at his brother. So right here, mad is, so we have our Daniel and what's your verb?
Mad.
Appears, and what is mad? Mad is your adjective. Now this is a predicate adjective. This is a predicate adjective that it's going over here and it is describing the subject, but it's in the predicate. Now, the whole point right here, how do we know that this is a linking verb? So oftentimes you can substitute the senses verb with your proper auxiliary verb. That is a linking verb. That is a be verb, an irregular form of be. And what verb would you put here to see if you have it correct? Is. Daniel is mad. Now, the reason why we put is because this is third person, and is the verb that you would use as a linking verb to link your adjective with your subject. What is really fun with that? Look at this one. Daniel appears angrily at his brother. Now you cannot use adverbs with linking verbs. If you know that this is a linking verb, then you can't use an adverbs. Linking verbs do not take adverbs. So because look, you have to have, if you have a linking verb right here, you know you're going to have a predicate adjective if you're only using adjectives, not nouns. We're talking about adjectives. So you can't use angrily, which is your adverb. You have to use the word angry, which is your adjective. So can linking verbs take adverbs?
Oh.
No. Adverbs do not describe your linking verbs. So we know that angrily is wrong, even though you think, oh, that does sound kind of right. It's incorrect. You have to use an adjective in this position. Daniel appears angry at his brother. Daniel is angry at his brother. See the difference? So make sure that you are using these properly. You cannot put an adverb next to the linking verb like this. It needs to be an adjective because adjectives describe the subject. Daniel appears mad. So your subject, your predicate, and your predicate adjective. So just remember that. Now here are some examples. You feel cold. Is feel a linking verb? How do you know that? Can't it be an action verb? What proper auxiliary verb would we put there?
You are cold.
You are cold. Does that make sense? Yeah. So you know you're using it properly, so you have to use an adjective right here. See, look right here. She feels coldly. It doesn't make sense. Now, if you do it this way, you would need more words because coldly would have to describe something else in the sentence. Coldly is not describing she. Coldly she feels. You would need something more in the sentence.
What if you do she feels really cold? Really, is it an adverb?
She feels really cold. Really would be describing cold, and cold would be describing you. So really is the adverb, but cold is still the adjective. So really is the adverb describing the adjective cold. Look at this one. She feels coldly. That doesn't make sense. She feels coldly something, 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 something. Because this needs to describe something besides the subject. I put this in second person. So you use feel with no S. Third person, you use the S. These are both singular right here, but this is the singular verb for your second person you, and this is the singular verb for the third person she. Paul looks happy. Paul is happy. Can we substitute is? Yeah, we can. Happy Paul, blah, 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 blah. If you can put happy also in front of Paul, then that sometimes works. But look, Paul is happily. Does that make sense? It would mean Paul is happily laughing. It would have to be something else. So you cannot use happily to describe looks. It does not work. So you need to make sure you use happy, and this is sitting in the predicate position. This is your linking verb, and this is your subject. And see how this right here is describing your subject. Paul is happy, completely makes sense. You know you have a linking verb if you can substitute it. Right here we have S's on here. That means it's third person singular, simple tense. Same here, Paul looks. Third person singular, simple tense. But this is incorrect. You can't use happily here because you need the word that's going to describe Paul. If we put happily in the front, happily Paul looks, and it would be describing something else. Daniel smells nice. Can we put is right here? Daniel is nice. So we know it works. So smells is getting replaced with is. Nice, Daniel. See how this one, it wouldn't work as much? That's why it's so important that you know that you can replace it with your auxiliary verb, the form of be, and to see if it actually works. But you smell nicely, you can't do that. So make sure that you are putting your verb correctly. So if you know it's a linking verb, you're not going to follow it with an adverb. If you have a linking verb here. Now that doesn't mean you can't have them down further describing something else, but not when it's acting as the predicate adjective. Does that make sense? You smell nicely. Doesn't make sense. You is nicely. It doesn't even sound right. So you know you have it incorrect. You is nicely. Look, singular takes the singular verb. This is second person, takes the singular verb. This is third person, singular. Okay, it's singular. What tense is it? Simple present.
Simple present, third person.
Third person singular. Sensory verbs do not take adverbs. You need to remember that. Sensory verbs do not take adverbs unless they're acting as an action. You need to make sure you understand it has to be an action verb. So be really careful with your sensory verbs, but linking verbs do not take adverbs ever. So be very careful of that. Am, is, are, was, were, be, been, and been. The linking verbs help the reader have a clear description with the predicate adjective and the subject. So look, this is a clear description of what Daniel is. Daniel is mad. It is very clear that Daniel is mad. So it gives you a clear description about the subject right here. Linking verbs are always linking verbs. Am, is, are, was, were, be, been, and been, become, seem. These are always linking verbs when they're acting as a linking verb. No matter what, they're linking verbs. Can they act as something else though? Yeah, they can be helping verbs. They can be they're state of being verbs, but if you're using them as a linking verb, it's always a linking verb and you need to memorize these. If you're putting them in between your subject and an adjective like that, you know it's a linking verb. The senses verbs can be linking or action, so be very careful on how you put your sentences together. Use your adverbs properly right here.
And the sentence doesn't make sense.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't look right. It doesn't sound right. It doesn't make sense. Exactly, Paul. LYs are mostly easy to recognize. Now, why I say mostly easy is because there are several LY words that are actually adjectives. So most of our LY words, maybe 80%, are adverbs, but we have some that are adjectives. So you have to be really careful with that. Make sure you're understanding which ones are the adjectives and which ones are your adverbs. Now we're going to talk about degree. Degree to the adjective, degree to the adverb. Let's talk about that. Put the adverb in the correct place so you do not have an awkward sentence. I almost knocked over all the bikes. Look at that sentence. What's your adverb?
Almost.
Nice, good. Almost. I knocked over almost all the bikes. What's your adverb?
Almost.
Is this an adverb?
No.
It's not. This is not an adverb. So I knocked over almost all the bikes. Is this acting as an adverb?
No.
No, it's not. What is it? An adjective.
There you go.
What's it describing? It's describing all. I knocked over almost all the bikes. What's all? This is your direct object, right? Look what happened here, you guys. I almost knocked over all the bikes. Almost is describing knocked. I almost knocked over all the bikes. Did any bikes get knocked over right here?
No.
No, not one bike got knocked over. I knocked over almost all the bikes. Did any bikes get knocked over here? Yes, almost. You knocked over practically every bike in this sentence.
Oh yeah.
So look at the difference. Here we put it in front of the verb. Here we put it in front of this noun. Here it's working as an adjective. Here it's working as an adverb. So make sure that you are putting them in the correct place because it's confusing. This right here could be your noun also that we're working on. This one would be a tad bit confusing on where to exactly put all the bikes. Is all describing bikes? Either way, you're describing almost all. To me, you're describing all. But what is all? It could be a noun acting as the direct object. It could be a couple different things. So if you want to put this one as an adjective, it could also be an adjective describing bikes. So this can be an adverb describing all if you want to say all. So this can be an adverb describing all, and it's all the bikes. All is describing bikes right here. I knocked over almost all. Almost is describing this adjective. Then this is describing the bikes, which is the noun. So you can do it that way. So, but you need to make sure that you have them in the right position. Do not mess only up. The word only is very confusing. Place only correctly. You only play rock music. Only is modifying play. This only is an adverb. It's describing your verb play. You play only rock music. See, now we moved it. You play only rock music. Only is modifying either rock or music. However you feel that it needs to be. It can modify both. Which one do you think it should modify?
Music.
I actually would put it on music, only music, and then use rock as an adjective. Now if you...
I feel like it should just go over both.
Yeah, or you can put rock music as, it's all one direct object. So you can put it and you're only using rock music. But either way, how you want to put it, an adjective describes a noun. An adjective describes a noun. Only can be an adverb, only can be an adjective, and only can be a coordinating conjunction. You can play rock music only if you play church music also. Look, only is combining these two sentences. This is an independent clause and this is a dependent clause. And only is the coordinating conjunction here. So remember, you can have multiple uses for this word. So make sure that you're placing it correctly. Look at this. It is best to place only before the word you want it to modify. So if you want only to modify play, then put it in front of play. If you want only to modify rock music, You play rock only music. See, you can't do that. So you play only rock music. If you wanted to modify rock music, use it in front of that and it'll be an adjective. Here, if you're separating two clauses, then use it in the middle. If you place only before the word you want to modify, you will not need to worry if you placed only incorrectly. In these sentences, we're talking about adverbs describing adjectives. The leaves are slightly open this afternoon on my peonies. What's the adverb in this sentence? The leaves are slightly open this afternoon on my peonies.
Slightly.
Nice, slightly. What's it describing? This is a linking verb, so it can't describe are. Can't describe that. So what's it describing?
Open.
Yeah, they're open. And this is predicate adjective. It's the open leaves. The leaves are open. The leaves are most lovely this afternoon. What is your adverb there?
Lovely.
Most. Is lovely an adverb? This one is an adjective. This is one of those ones that you need to remember that this lovely is not an adverb. This is an adjective. This is one of those LYs that is not an adverb. Can you say the lovely leaves?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can. The lovely leaves. The leaves are lovely. So this most is describing lovely. This most is also acting as a superlative. Means the most. It can be in place of EST, which means the most. All right, the leaves are more lovely this afternoon on my peonies. What is your adverb? More. Nice. What is it describing?
Lovely.
Lovely. More lovely. More is comparing. More means it's more lovely today than yesterday. Lovely is an adjective describing leaves. It's sitting in your predicate adjective position right here, right? And it's going to come over and it's going to describe leaves. The leaves are lovely this afternoon. Do we have the adverb in that sentence? No, so look at this. We have most, that is the superlative. We have more, that is the comparative. And then we don't have an adverb. So this right here would be more like positive. It's just what it is right now. The leaves are lovely this afternoon. Lovely is describing leaves. This right here is an adjective. So you can't say the slightly leaves. You can say the lovely leaves. The leaves are lovely this afternoon. Adverbs describe adverbs, so make sure that you're careful with that. The leaves are rather lovely. What's your adverb here?
Rather.
Okay, here is your, and is this an adverb?
No.
No, it's an adjective. So here's your adverb, but look, the leaves are still rather lovely. Here's your adverb describing this adverb rather. So remember, adverbs describe adverbs. So there are 5 different types of adverbs out there, you guys. How many different types of adverbs are there? 5. How many different types? 5. Nice. So now, you need to remember, time tells us when. You can ask that question and find out the answer. When are you going? When did it happen? And that is the time. We also have place. You can ask the question, well, where did it happen? Where is it? Where? Ask the question to find that. Degree. To what extent? Ask that question. To what extent? To what degree did it happen? Now, the manner means how. How did it happen? I honestly think you can ask these 3 words, when, where, and how, and it will help you find what you need if you do these. But this is also crazy helpful. To what degree? How often? The frequency did it happen? How often did it happen? Never, right? It's a frequency. You need to make sure you understand the difference with your adverb. Manner is how. And it answers the question how. Manner answers a question. See, manner answers the question how. Degree answers the question how much. Place, which is the where, you put that after the verb or the direct object. That's how this will help you. If it's a place, where is it going to go, Paul? After the verb or the direct object. Paul, if it's a place, where is the adverb going to go?
After the verb or direct object.
Nice. And that's your where. The time, which is the when, usually begin or end sentences or before the verb. That's your when. Now, how often? Before a verb or after the direct object. That's where you're going to see that often. And it answers the question, how often? It's the frequency. There are adverbs that function as conjunctions. A coordinating conjunction. What's our main coordinating conjunctions that we have?
And fanboys.
Yeah, you're fanboys. But sometimes you have words in there that act as a coordinating conjunction. There are things that you need to know if you're going to have an adverb function as a conjunction. As a conjunction, you need to use periods or semicolons when you have two independent clauses between them, and a comma behind the adverb when it's between two independent clauses. The battery was dead on the motorcycle, therefore it did not start. Now, what are the two independent clauses in this sentence? So the battery was dead on the motorcycle is one independent clause. What's the other one, Daniel?
Therefore, it did not start.
Yeah, so it did not start is the second independent clause. And here is your conjunction. Look what you have to have when you're separating that. A semicolon right here. If you're going to keep them connected. But then look what happens after the adverb. Yeah, a comma. So, but look at this. The battery was dead on the motorcycle. Here, I decided to put a period. And then we're going to capitalize it. Therefore, but look, comma, it did not start. Therefore, it did not start. So that's how you do your punctuation when you're working with an adverb as a conjunction. So make sure that you understand that. You use a period or a semicolon when you have two independent clauses. So look, this therefore is functioning as a conjunction. But if you're going to use an adverb that is functioning as a conjunction, then you need to make sure that you have a semicolon in front of it, right in between the two independent clauses, and then you have a comma that follows the adverb. Okay, that's how you do the punctuation. Or look at this one. I put a period here, but then with the next word, you would still comma that. And you have therefore right there. This is two sentences now. But you need to remember, if you're using this and you do put a period, you need to put a comma there. That's the whole point.
So the first one,
even these go together. If you're not going to use a coordinating conjunction between your two independent clauses, you would comma it. But with adverbs, you use a semicolon. A regular coordinating conjunction, you use a comma. But if you're using an adverb, you're using a semicolon no matter what. Do you remember that? Before, if you keep the coordinating conjunction out and you have to use a semicolon. Rules for adverbs that function as conjunctions. That's what they are. Remember those rules. These are the rules that you have to remember if your adverb is functioning as a conjunction. Conjunction, junction, what's your function? Good luck with all of that. We'll see you in the next lesson.
Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next lesson.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.